Now it is. We'll start all over again. Good afternoon and welcome to the Boston City Council Committee on Parks, Recreation, and Transportation. Today hearing is on docket number 1392, message and order approving appropriations of $1,025,000 from the Edward Ingersoll Browne Fund for projects that will ornament the city streets, ways, squares, and parks. This matter is sponsored by the mayor and was referred to the committee on November 1st, 2017. Please, if you have cell phones, turn them off. I am. And this is being televised live. So with that, we have our new collector-treasurer, Drew Smith, and our second collector-treasurer, Richard DiPiano. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to the Treasury Department to let us know how you're going to spend this $1,025,000.
Thank you, Councilor. Before the Council is a order from the Edward Ingersoll Browne Fund of 7 projects in which the Browne Fund commissioners had met and seek approval. The first would be a landscape design grant for outdoor passive space, including the restoration of the Lieutenant Bowden Memorial in Alston, which sits along Com Ave. And that grant would be for $40,000 for a design grant. The second project before the Council is a construction grant for the fabrication and installation of a memorial honoring the victims of the 2013 Boston Marathon bombings. This grant would be part 1 of a 2-part process for a citywide memorial for those that had been affected by the memorial. And an RFP for that citywide process will be going out this winter. The site has been identified along Boylston Street, and these funds would be used in conjunction of the entire citywide process. The third one is a design grant as well for landscape improvements with artistic pieces to the Codman Square Park in the amount of $35,000. The next one would be a construction grant for renovations of the public space surrounding the Baccar and the Payne galleries at Mass College of Art and Design. The next one would be a construction grant for the memorial to celebrate and honor the contributions of African American veterans and the achievements of Chief Justice Edward Gordon for an additional $250,000. A construction grant, for public art to celebrate the contributions of diversity and creativity of women, which bring transportation industry to Boston. That's going to sit at South Station, at the South Station entrance, overlooking the entranceway. And lastly, a $150,000 grant for the fabrication and installation of public art to tribute community members who have inspired and had a positive impact on the Brighton community.
Okay. Just a couple of questions I have in regards to the Browne Fund. Mm-hmm. So what is the balance of the Browne Fund, do we know?
So the current market value of the Browne Fund is $15 million.
15 million?
15 million.
Okay.
With an annual distribution of $750,000 each year.
And we already did a few grants.
Correct. We do annual grants each year.
Yep.
Some years, depending on the number of applicants and the strength and breadth of those applications, some years we don't fully expend the money, in which case we just roll it over to the next funding cycle.
Okay. I have no questions in regards to the projects. I mean, they're all good projects for the city of Boston. Chiomo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to welcome Drew. We just got to meet at the very first Jobs Trust.
Right. Thanks very much.
So just wanted to welcome you, and I'm actually a trustee with Rich on the Browne Fund, so I have no questions either.
You don't?
I'm okay with questions, thank you.
Mr. Baker?
Yes. Richie, how are you?
Counselor, how are you?
Good, good. So 750 annually, so this is, we're over $1 million here. Is that, so that was rolled over from last year, the
Correct, Counselor.
what's above? And what is the schedule, I could probably ask you these questions. I'll ask Richie. What is the schedule for the Brown, like, do they,
So we typically have a deadline date of March 15th. And once all the applications are in, they are reviewed to make sure that all the supporting documentation along with the application is filled out properly. And then during the months of June and July and August, the Browne Fund Committee reviews those applications, has the applicant come in to make a presentation and give the committee members an opportunity to vet some of the questions that they may have with the application. The committee members then make a recommendation to the commissioners as to the projects.
and, and,
This is for one point.
so like if there's seven projects here, this year, like, what is in the pipeline? Do we have any sense of what is maybe looking to get in the pipeline for next year? Like, are there projects that didn't make this cut here that could potentially be there for next year?
Yes, so if the project is seeking some additional source funding.
Yep.
That they need to do substantial fundraising, the committee would ask the applicant to come back before the Browne Fund when their goal is, at the very least, halfway met, to use this money as leverage for additional fundraising.
Oh, okay, so if it's $1 million project, you want to see them fundraise 500,000?
Pretty much. Because of the size of the Browne Fund and because it only has $750,000 to spend each year, we try to spread it out as best as we can. And to do that, it all depends on the number of projects.
So if we expend the 750,000 this year, how do we not deplete that? Like,
So
do
the-
we stay at 15 million? Is that what we're trying to do here? Is there like a bottom that we don't want to hit, or?
So what happens is, Counselor, that the 15 million is actively managed in the financial markets with a whole host of different investment advisors. And we use the proceeds from the investment returns to sustain the fund. And in essence, to keep it in perpetuity.
So we keep the 15 million and we just spend the interest?
Yeah. And we've seen it grown from 13 million to 15 million. So along with expending the $750,000, we're able to also capture that growth and bring up the fund.
Great. And so it's the oldest member of the city council that is on the board, or how do we?
It is.
Not the
Oldest-
longest serving, the
No,
oldest?
the oldest by age.
Okay,
Thanks for pointing that out.
okay,
Councilor
just
Baker.
checking. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I was ready to say something about it.
Go ahead, throw it out there.
No, I won't. Can you just talk a little more about the Boston Marathon Memorial? So
Sure.
there's $350,000, and that's for
Sure,
application, and just give us a little,
sure. Again, it's, the site has been identified, the space along Boylston Street.
you know where, on Boylston Street?
It's
Is it near the,
near the site of the first bombing.
okay,
The forum. I think it's near the forum.
okay.
And it's specifically for the 5 families who actually lost loved ones. But again, it's a piece of the entire citywide memorial.
Okay.
So it's a small segment of what the city's
Is
gonna
that the
do.
citywide memorial will be at that location, or is there gonna be another location?
As far as I know, it's gonna be,
That's the citywide. We haven't determined a location yet. You haven't determined?
Yeah,
You wanna come down here and just state your name and your and your department for the record? As we put you on the spot. Yeah.
Daniel
Tavares, Chief Diversity Officer for the City of Boston. So the funds for the Browne Fund are really going to be used to demarcate the two spaces on Boylston Street where we had the blast go off in 2013. The conversation started around a citywide memorial, and quickly we realized that there's so many voices in the survivor community that wants to have a say in the process that we decided a citywide memorial would be a more appropriate route to go. And so what we've done is we put out an RFP for a project manager to manage the public engagement piece. That RFP we anticipate will be out December of this year. But the funds that we're specifically asking for, it's solely to demarcate the spaces on Boylston Street. The construction's already started. The subsurface work has already begun. And so what we're looking for now is funds to continue that project.
Great. I love it. So I'm Drew Smith. Welcome to the Boston City Council, and I just want to give you an opportunity to tell us a little about yourself and how long you've been working.
Thanks very much. As you'd mentioned, my name is Drew Smith. I'm the Senior Deputy Treasurer, also by statute, the first Assistant Collector Treasurer. I've been on the job for all of 2 weeks and 1 day so far. I originally come from the state, where I was Deputy Assistant Treasurer for Debt Management, managing their debt portfolio at the Commonwealth. Originally hailing from Arkansas, you may have picked up that I've got my own accent, so that's probably not going anywhere. But I've been in Boston for 8 years now. I'm thrilled to be here with you all today. It's a real pleasure to be here in this particular capacity. To the extent that I can be helpful to any of you or your colleagues, I do hope that you let me know.
Thank you.
Thanks very
And
much.
welcome to the city.
Thank you.
I love it. With that, any other? Sure, Councilor Baker.
Good.
So is the city's paying for the marathon memorial? Or is it privately raised, or?
So we're not calling what's on Boylston the memorial. What we're really doing is demarcating spaces. If you go out there now, they've bumped out the side of the road and removed some parking spaces.
Yeah.
We're looking at planting some new trees. All that money will be privately raised along with the funds received from the Browne Fund.
And will there be multiple spots where we have things telling us stories, or just the two spots?
It's just the two spots on Boylston Street.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Daniel.
Anyone else with questions, concerns? Well, thank you. I appreciate the work, and welcome to the city of Boston.
Thanks very much.
This hearing is concluded. Thank you. See you later, brother.
That's it, huh?
That's it. I don't want to talk.
Okay. Jeez. So you're gonna drop me like that when you leave?
Drop you like a fly,
You already did.
like a fly.
Counselor, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to the table.
Thanks very much. I'm in Dorchester, yeah. You sound like a good. Is that right?